Alright, we're back to another episode of Tech Talk, the tech and games podcast that definitely needs to keep a better schedule.
I'm Roy for the tech.
And I'm Earl for the talk.
So, here we are again, going over an hour on the runtime. Again,
Yep.
it's like we can't help but go over the time we allot every single time.
Well, in our defense, right, we always have a lot of things to talk about on like the show, so it would make sense that sometimes we would go a little overboard and go over the allotted time that we have. So anyway, just to avoid like doing the same mistake over again, like we've done for like the
Yeah.
past two episodes, let's get straight to the banter section. So for this banter section, we're gonna be talking about the iPhone 13 rumors. Like, I mean, it's not out yet. It hasn't been announced yet, but
Yeah, but the rumor mill for smartphones is always chugging.
Yep. So, one of the rumors I actually want to address for like this quote unquote latest model is that people are actually like hounding over the AI. They're like speculating a lot of like really absurd things. I'm gonna start with the more absurd one, which is people are saying, oh, it's going to have 6 cameras now instead of like the three on like iPhone 11. Like it's three, right? They think,
Wait a
oh,
minute.
they're gonna put
Where
six
are you
more.
getting these rumors from?
Mostly just from weird forums. Like forums
Oh.
explaining about the iPhone 13, people who are just saying, hey guys, what do you think the iPhone 13 is going to possess? But one user actually has
It's
a
the
more...
think. It's just think what users on the forums think,
Yep,
and not from industry insiders.
yep.
Because I have a list here right now from an industry insider.
Alright, so what do we got? What do we got? Let's start with the industry insider first, because it's the actual
Okay,
guy.
a lot of these rumors are sourced from Ming Chi Kuo,
Mm.
a Taiwanese industry insider.
Alright.
If you know what I mean, because
Basically,
he's an industry analyst
yeah, this guy
for
has
technology.
insight.
Yeah, and his rumors or his predictions, he is an insider after all, are very very accurate.
Alright, so later
So
on.
he has the reputation. All right, here we go. A smaller notch,
Alright, so yeah,
a bigger battery.
oh, of course, that's always going to be
Yeah,
one of the things.
course. Smaller notch, yeah, everyone has been wanting that. Okay, next, sensor shift. Do you know OIS?
Sadly, no. Care to enlighten me though?
Okay, to keep it short, optical image stabilization.
Ooh, it sounds
So
fancy.
basically, it's on a lot of flagship phones. Yes, your Note 9 has it.
Oh, it does?
Where if you have a shaky hand, it compensates for it.
Oh, so that you can take a picture correctly, is that it?
Yeah, it will still take a clear picture even if you have a shaky hand.
Oh,
Compared to phones which doesn't have OIS or EIS, the electronic equivalent, where if you shake it a little bit, it comes off blurry. So
Ah.
that's sensor shift.
oh,
What I
dude.
mean by sensor shift is instead of the optics themselves, it's the sensor.
Oh, alright, so like it's the sensor itself doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah. So currently it's only on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And the rumor is that they're going to bring it across all the iPhones
Dude,
for this year.
I think they should because like it's possible. I mean, most of their smartphones have the tech for it, so I think it's possible for them to do
Yeah.
that. But for the iPhone 13, here's one rumor that's actually more realistic is that they think they're gonna add like a better camera AI, like the simple things like if it's dark, they're gonna make it so that the picture like it brightens like the background, and then the same thing with like the actual video camera.
Their
Is that-
AI, yeah, their AI has drastically improved. You could actually see it from their iPhone 11 series.
yeah, like
It goes toe in toe with the Google Pixel series. It's really nice.
yeah, it's really nice, which is why like I think this is one of the more realistic like expectations that people have. It's that they're going to improve a lot more in like the camera AI and like add more stuff that makes it so that you can take a clearer picture.
I mean, in this day and age, improved cameras are really simply a bullet point now because you've come to expect it.
Yeah.
Oh, smartphone company aims to improve their cameras. Wow. Just like every year.
Yeah, I mean, technically, everyone's always using their cameras, because, mahilig yung mga tao sa social media, they're always taking pictures, posting about what they're doing, making TikToks, all that stuff. So, of course,
Yeah.
kailangan talaga improve yung camera kasi, pare, if you think about it, the camera has become a staple of, like, every, like, livelihood, of everyday living.
Yeah, of course. We've come to depend on it.
Yep.
And it's actually something we take for granted.
Alright.
So wait, to reiterate what you said, and to basically give you some information. Yes, there are going to be camera improvements, namely in the ultra wide.
Oh, all right. That's good to hear, man. And if,
Okay, moving on.
yeah, moving on.
Moving on.
So moving on. Just one last note is most people say it'll be like, of course, with all smartphones, is that the iPhone 13 is going to be just a little bit different than like its predecessors. You know, not by a whole lot. So anyway,
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just skim through the rest of the list real fast.
All right, go
Okay. So better 5G efficiency.
Of course.
Wi-Fi 6E support.
Oh,
It will still use the Lightning port, so no USB-C. And
Okay.
there will be no portless iPhone for this year.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And industry analysts say that Apple will not adopt USB-C for the iPhones, which is kind of understandable and kind of inexcusable as well, since the rest of their products use USB-C except their iPhone.
oh man,
So
that's inconsistency right there.
yeah,
Actually,
I mean,
for those of you who don't
they
know what,
have a lot of money.
Yeah,
They
they-
get a lot of money from Lightning port royalties. So
that I mean, hey, whatever works, man. Like apparently for
Whatever
them, it's
works.
whatever works. And also, just we're on the same page with everyone. Basically, USB-C is basically just the you know how your charging port. Basically, if it's oval shaped, that's basically what USB-C is.
yeah.
All right, so
And if I remember correctly, because you have to remember, Apple was the leading drive to push USB-C.
which I really appreciate, man. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like
But if I remember correctly, it wasn't advancing fast enough, so they made a compromise, which became Lightning.
I see. All right, so moving on.
Okay, so moving to the rest of the list, millimeter wave support for more countries. So it's millimeter wave is the ultra fast, better version of 5G. It's the 5G that were promised. You know the
You know, of course,
ooh,
the-
super duper fast.
yeah, fast
Ooh,
internet. Oh, it really do be fast, you know.
it really do be fast.
Despite all
And
the
the
memes.
other standard of 5G is sub 6 gigahertz.
Mm.
It's basically LTE but faster.
I see.
And it's the 5G that the majority of us experience right now. So the 5G that's currently being rolled out here is likely sub 6 gigahertz.
Well, most
Okay.
likely. So anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
The last bullet point. 120 hertz display for the iPhone 13 Pro models.
Oh.
That's it.
of course, more frames per second and a smoother screen
More
makes for a
frames.
better experience.
Okay,
Alright.
to summarize, this will be an S-year upgrade. So it's just an incremental year.
Yep. And mind you, just to reiterate, these are just rumors. They're not set in stone, and we don't claim to be insiders. All right, we just take this
Yeah.
information from people who are insiders. All right.
So what's yours?
Well, that's
What do you have in store for us?
Well, okay. So what we have. Okay. So what. Okay. So moving away from the rumors, and we're moving actually to the tech section, like the actual like factual stuff. We're gonna talk about again. More rumors this time directed at the Nintendo Switch upgrade, like a potential upgrade.
Before we begin, I'd just like to say what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on away from the rumors, let's talk about rumors again.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about more rumors. That's the funny part. I just realized what I said. So, moving forward, we're gonna talk about Nintendo Switch upgrade rumors. So, first of all, the most obvious, let me tell you where we got this information from. We got this from an article published by. Do you remember who it was again, Roy? I don't.
It's from Bloomberg.
Yeah, from
The
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg article is what drove this rumor mill into the stratosphere.
Yeah, because Bloomberg is like a very credible article or news outlet when it comes to like technology, like the Nintendo Switch and other things. They were mostly right about with the PS5, like when they predicted, like when they said like, oh, the controller's gonna have haptic feedback, controllers that resist like. Do you know those resistant control triggers on the back of the controller? I'm not sure what those are called. I forgot the
Yeah.
actual name for that. They're
Aren't those? No, they're not linear vibrations. I mean, it has something to do with vibration, but
yeah, basically
haptics.
resistant
Haptics.
controllers. Yeah, resistant control, like resistant triggers. Like that's what they were the people that actually reported on that. So,
Yeah.
but again,
Oh
this
yeah,
is
to
just a
clarify
rumor.
on the Bloomberg article, Bloomberg, like every other news source, gets these types of information from, you guessed it, industry insiders.
Of course they do, man. It's to generate hype and to get people excited for like the next product that the company's going to release,
Let's go, tech.
All right, so moving on. the Nintendo Switch, like the article itself states that the Nintendo Switch is going to be upgraded, but with the most obvious feature being the screen upgrade. They say they're going to move from LEDs to actually OLED, which is the same type of screen used on smartphones. They said they're going to.
Yeah, a lot of smartphones these days are now OLED.
Yep. So mostly, they're going to switch from LED to OLED.
LCD.
Yeah, LCD. Sorry.
I think it's IPS LCD.
Yeah, LCD. LED.
Currently, for the Nintendo Switch, it's a 6.2-inch LCD. And it's 5.5 inches for the Switch Lite. The current rumor is that this upgraded Nintendo Switch would be a 7-inch, 720p still OLED display from Samsung.
So that means that if you dock it, like if you dock your Nintendo Switch, it's going to be capable at actually displaying 4K, which is like really, really clear. All right.
I'm not sure if it's just a software upgrade, but I'm banking on it. It's 4K video out on dock mode. So
Yep. So again,
can't wait to see it.
yeah, look forward to that. So you can finally see Mario's mustache in 4K. You can see every hair on his mustache.
In your 1080p TV.
Yep. All right. So another quality of life update that they're going to say is they're gonna make it so that they're going to relocate, like that weird stand in the back, like like that stand in the back that like,
Yeah,
gets
the
in the
pull-out
way.
stand.
Yeah, the pull-out
The
stand.
flimsy plastic.
Yeah, the flimsy plastic. They say they're going to fix that, and they're going to relocate it because it gets in the way of the charging port. Notice that?
Yeah.
For me, I think the most likely way they're going to do it is they're going to make it so that you have to flip the console. Like they're going to put the charging port on top instead of the bottom.
Oh my god, no. I mean, it's in my opinion, but I would prefer it at the bottom. But then again, it's probably just me. Or they should just go the Asus ROG route and put a USB-C port at the top and at the bottom.
Yep.
Because why not?
So mostly they're going to like overall just add more, like make the Nintendo Switch better, like easier to handle, easier for you to use, and to make it like just basically much better than the previous ones, like the previous generations of Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, of course. I guess maybe they'll increase the battery size again, like what they did with the refresh
Actually,
of the Switch.
That's one of the things that the article mentions, that they're planning on increasing the battery size so you can play for
nice.
longer. So
Nice.
now the base Nintendo Switch can run for like 5-6 hours, right? And now this one, the latest one, is said to be able to run at around an increased time of 8 to 9 hours. So that's an extra like 2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours. I mean, it's not that much, but you could say that
It makes a
with
difference. It makes a
phone
difference.
phone battery lives. So it's a marginal improvement, but it's an improvement nonetheless.
Yep. So I think that's mostly all of like what I have for quality of life updates for the Nintendo Switch now. One of the things they never really mention is oh yeah, wait, there's one more thing, which is they've also like improved on the Bluetooth connectivity of like their other accessories for like the Nintendo Switch, such as the Joy-Con, the Pro-Con controller, and made it so that it's much easier for for like your Nintendo Switch to actually detect your Joy-Cons. Like when you try and go wireless Joy-Cons, they made it so now it's much easier for you to
Yeah.
it's much easier for you to detect.
I mean, in my experience, sometimes it takes like a second or two for the Bluetooth to register my Joy-Cons.
So yeah, now it's going to be like instantaneous. As soon as you remove them, it's already connected. Like they're going to improve on that. But right, I'm really interested here is that they also plan on implementing like Bluetooth like headphones and earphones so that you can use like, well, not
So
AirPods.
what you're saying is finally they're implementing Bluetooth audio for the Switch.
Yes, they are, and that's one of the more like interesting things that about like the upgrade rumors, and so if you have like, let's say you have Samsung buds, like you have these buds, right, like these wireless buds.
True wireless stereos. So
Yeah, you can-
TWS earbuds.
Yeah, you can like plug that in, like you can connect that to like this new generation Nintendo Switch, and essentially not have to worry about like the audio leaking anymore, because you can just be comfortable. You don't have to worry about the wire. You don't have to like bring earphones anymore. You can just use the true wireless ones and like just be comfortable. And also,
And before the Bluetooth connectivity issues, disconnects it for 1 to 2 seconds.
yeah, I can see it becoming a problem because of all of the stuff that you try to connect to it. So anyway, that's about it really. Like aside from the fact that you can like also connect Bluetooth speakers to it later on, just so that you can have like much louder audio. That's about it.
So I guess don't count on Nintendo fixing the Joy-Cons.
Yep.
Just don't.
Yeah, don't count on them they didn't explicitly say. This article didn't even say anything about the Joy-Cons. All they
Yeah,
said
so
is
don't
that
don't expect it.
Yeah,
Don't
they-
expect it to be fixed.
yeah, they only like briefly mentioned it. Like they said something about we know about the Joy-Cons. That's about it. But they didn't explicitly say what if they were broken or not. So all you need to know about the Joy-Con issues is that with like any controller, if you use a certain amount, like a controller for a certain amount of time, especially joysticks, they'll drift. So what drifting is for example, if you try to move the controller to the left and you try to like take your thumb off of like joystick itself,
It will still go to
it's
the left.
supposed to reset, right? But this, yeah,
Yeah.
it keeps going to like that previous direction you set it to. So if you put it to the left, take your thumbstick off, it doesn't reset. It just drifts to the left. Like it keeps moving
Yeah.
slowly to the left.
Yeah, even then, it will probably go left, up left, or left, down left.
Yup.
So, yeah.
And that's the problem. Like it'll start like moving. It'll start like moving on its own accord. And the more you use it, the more like flimsy the stick is. And
Yeah.
I actually want to report on the actual like sticks of the Joy-Con. Like
Yeah, it's the specific model of the joystick that they're using.
yeah, it's the specific model. It's because of that the joysticks aren't exactly as rigid as you would like as we would like them to be. They're not like the Xbox like joysticks or like the PS4 joysticks. In
Yeah,
fact,
because the PS5 also has this problem now.
Yep.
Because it's using the same model of joystick as the one used in the Joy-Cons.
Yep. But again, it's inevitable that, of course, every controller that you keep using, every controller that you keep beating up the joysticks, clicking them, moving them really
No,
fast.
because
it's going
you
to
got
break
salty
eventually.
from Smash.
Yep, it's going to break eventually. We're happy to report that, at least for the Procon, the joysticks don't actually drift as much or drift at all because it can take quite a beating, just like the PS4 controller.
I guess I just haven't experienced the drift yet. I mean, it's been 2 years. It's probably just because I don't use my Switch too much.
But basically, if you play like a lot of like movement-based games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Astral
Smash
Chain,
Ultimate.
Bayonetta 2, Breath of the Wild, and like you just really beat up your Joy-Cons, like be careful with them because they're gonna end up drifting a lot faster. Like the average time for them to drift is estimated to be 6 to 7 months, but if you like keep beating them up, it's going to be reduced down to a month to 1 to 2 months. So be careful with your Joy-Cons.
Yes, the joys of electronics.
Yep. So anyway, that's about it for the Nintendo Switch upgrade rumors. We actually all went like 2 minutes past our allotted time for it, but that should be fine.
Yeah, but even then, we're like, how many minutes are we in?
We're only
My
17.
time, it's 17 minutes and 42 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, we'll be
This
fine.
is already an improvement.
Yeah, we'll be
wow, I guess we could reach our 1 hour allotment that
Alright.
we're setting
Yep,
with
yep.
ourselves.
All right.
Yep,
So
yep,
yeah. All right. So now, all right, Roy. So can you please introduce the next section for us, Roy?
Oh, let's go. They're going to be talking about indie game expansion. Now, what do we mean by that?
When the big dog
It's-
takes care of the puppies.
Yep, indie companies being bought out by larger game studios or companies in general.
All right. So just to name a few, the more obvious and more recent one is that Fall Guys was bought by Epic Games. Like the studio that made Fall Guys was bought out by Epic Games so that they could expand on the game and make it better. And to name
Yeah,
more,
it's Mediatonic. And what's the studio that made Rocket League? Because they were also...
there are
Wait, were they bought out by Epic or no?
from what I can tell, like actually, I'm not knowledgeable of that. Actually, I don't know actually.
Because it was removed on Steam. It's now an Epic exclusive. Okay, wait. I need to see. Psyonix. Okay. Psyonix was acquired by Epic Games in May of 2019. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It was
So
bought out.
okay, so Rocket League was acquired. The studio for Rocket League, which is Psyonix, was also bought by Epic Games. And to just name a more like common one, Valve actually bought out like Counter-Strike when it was just a mod. They bought the rights to it and they bought like the studio that made it. Well, the quote-unquote studio being the community members who made it. Because originally Counter-Strike was essentially just a mod for like Half-Life 2.
Yeah, and Half-Life was originally a mod for Quake, I think.
Half-Life was originally a mod for Quake. So more or less it's
Quake,
just a
yeah.
cycle of modding that Valve acquires.
Modding, Valve acquires it, it becomes a fully fledged game, community loves it, rinse, repeat. Yeah.
Alright, so to name a more like mainstream studio, aside from like Valve and of course the ones mentioned before, is actually Apex Legends. Like the creators of Apex Legends, Respawn Entertainment, which was actually bought by EA. Like they bought the studio themselves so that they could work on Apex Legends. They're the ones who originally created the first Titanfall 2, in a mobile game called Titanfall Defense, or Titanfall it was Titanfall Defense.
So the Titanfall series, okay.
Yeah, the Titanfall series. Alright, so now I really want to talk about this is since a lot of bigger companies are like buying out smaller game studios for them to be able to like expand on like their game ideas, and for them to be able to like of course rake in more money from like how popular the games are. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention another big dog. Like essentially this is the most popular.
We're not just going to be talking about the little leagues being bought out by the big leagues. We can also talk about a AAA game studio being bought out by another one.
Yep.
So I guess in this case, it's Bethesda.
Yeah, Bethesda is not really indie. It's more on like they were always big.
You could argue that they're a AAA. You could argue that they're a AAA. So
you could
they're
argue,
the big fish.
Yeah, they were, but of course Microsoft is bigger, so Microsoft bought them.
Yeah, and now
we get Doom Eternal.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, a lot of the games will now be Game Pass exclusive, so Xbox and PC
Alright, so yeah,
exclusive.
it's gonna be like Xbox and PC exclusive. It's Microsoft, man. Alright, so I actually
they have to have an exclusive for something.
Of course, I
It
forgot.
has to come from somewhere.
Yep,
So I guess this is it.
I can't forget about the big dog Minecraft, because Minecraft was like
Mojang.
Mojang was what became an overnight not an overnight sensation, but basically it's a Cinderella story of indie games, because there was one man with a huge ambition and a studio full of people who were willing to back him up and support him, and because of it they made one of, if not the most popular game in the world. Alright?
So in the tech community, this is called the unicorn.
Yep, the unicorn. In the tech or in the development, like in a development sense, the Cinderella story.
Yep.
Alright, so to give you a rundown is basically Minecraft is one of the, if not the the best selling game next to Tetris. Like I'm pretty sure it surpassed Tetris or is on par with Tetris already. And the thing about it is that Microsoft bought out like the studio, like Mojang, for like billions of dollars. Like I forgot the exact amount.
Okay, so I'm in Wikipedia right now. List of best-selling video games. Okay, rank 1, Minecraft with 200 million sales.
Oh, so it did surpass Tetris already. Yep.
Tetris is third place at 100 million.
It used to be Tetris, man, but now it's just, oh wow, Minecraft just surpassed. What's the second one? I'm curious. What's the second most, like the best selling one?
GTA 5 at 140 million.
Oh wow, GTA 5 still kicking. All right. So moving on is that's the thing though. Like this Cinderella story and became like, well, you can say it didn't really have a happy ending, because the person who originally developed the idea for Minecraft, the creator Notch.
Let's just say that.
It's not really about what's happening in social media, but rather the woes of fame, because he developed a lot of like issues, and like he had like a lot of like. All right, there's this phenomenon called like it's a type of thing where like, oh, you can't handle the pressures of all this success, all of this fame, like all of this sudden like wealth coming to you. Like it's that type of phenomenon where he felt overwhelmed by all of this stuff coming to him all at once. Basically what happened to him was like, oh, he was given this much money, and wherever he went people knew who he was. Like, oh, this guy created Minecraft, and he's like, I don't think I can handle this. And so he went out so of course he went out on a vacation to chill for a while, and that's about it. And the rest, well,
is history.
Is
history. Let's just say it's up to you to decide.
Yeah, it's up to you to decide what direction he goes to, man. This is a family-friendly podcast, alright?
Yep.
Alright, so moving on. Now, this is actually a good thing, because since Microsoft bought out Minecraft and all of these other studios bought out these smaller studios with their games, a lot of the games have gotten bigger. Apex Legends is now on its 9th battle pass. Currently, it's on its 8th, but the ninth one's already in development. And there's a lot of like new legends, new mechanics, new maps, and new things that's on the way. And basically, Minecraft has gotten bigger, and they're actually promising a Caves update after they've just rolled out the Nether update, which adds more biomes to the Nether region. All of these big updates, big expansions to these games are backed by these bigger studios with much more financial might and
Like
much more
what
resources.
you see with the Minecraft franchise now.
Yep.
From Lego sets through the Telltale game. Through those mobile
Minecraft
games.
story mode. Don't you know it also has a Netflix show? It also has a Netflix show.
Yep.
And it's interactive, quote unquote.
Minecraft character will remember this decision that you made.
This block character remembered that you stole his diamonds. Alright.
10 minutes later, oh no, goodbye character.
Oh yeah, can I actually tell you a funny thing about like the like a funny thing in the Minecraft series? So when like you slay a pig, right? And it drops pork chop. One of the main characters, spoiler alert, in Minecraft story mode is a pig, alright?
Yeah,
And-
yeah. I saw the quote unquote death scene of it.
And the
Yep.
sad death, like it's like it's supposed to be sad, but it just comes out funny because
Because it dropped a pork chop.
yeah, as soon as it dies, it makes like the pig death noise that you'd normally hear in Minecraft, and then it just drops the pork chop, which of course the characters cook and then consume.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Goodbye character. Let me eat you.
Let me eat you. It's for the greater good. So basically, I want to talk about the pros and cons of like acquisitions of like these like big like smaller studios. Of course, the bigger pros is that since these smaller studios are being bought out by bigger ones, just like
They
EA
usually
and
get
Respawn,
more money and
more
get
traction.
the success of it.
Yeah,
The
more
success
money,
of it.
more traction, and of course, the most important bit is more resources and financial like backing for them to be able to like continue to expand on their like projects or make new ones.
Yeah. So basically, all in all, this contributes to their success.
Yeah, it overall contributes to their success, which is like a good thing, because it
Yeah,
allows them to be
of
able.
course.
It allows for developers to be able to like pursue their passion, to continue building on what they've made, and essentially make a legacy for themselves.
Yeah. It's basically being proud of your own work, being iterated more and more.
I mean, oh yeah, there's one more. Santa Monica Studios, the creators of God of War, were bought out by Sony. I remember that, and they were given like the financial backing to be able to like actually like create God of War 4. And I can tell you, God of War 4 won Game of the Year, and for good reason, dude. Like for good reason.
Yeah. I see the reasons.
Alright,
I mean, I've seen some gameplay.
yeah,
Yep,
it's
I
all
can
in the
see it.
gameplay. And plus, dude, the amount of effort and time that studio had to go through, the amount of money that Sony had to actually like throw at Santa Monica Studios to get the job done, as well as all of the delays and of course all of the holidays, all of the things, the personal stuff that developers had to go through, were really, really like just eye-opening to like the industry and how much effort it takes and how like basically to I won't do it justice. So just watch the documentary, like the Sony documentary available on YouTube called Raising Kratos. But basically, in the end of it, when the creator of it like saw that, I wonder if like what are the reviews for my game, and he saw all of the reviews for like God of War 4, he cried. He actually cried. Like he absolutely cried because he didn't expect it to do that well.
Now this is what we call a happy ending.
Yep, a
So,
wholesome moment.
when it comes to the developers of the game that you play or is your favorite, just think of them.
Yeah, think of them, dude, because game development is not easy. Software and development is not easy, and none of these processes are easy. It takes actual time. It takes a lot of overtime, crunch time, a lot of time out of people's personal lives just to complete them. So always support
Yeah.
your developers.
Support your developers and be proud of them.
Yes, be proud of
Be
them.
proud that you're playing it.
All right. So now for the pros and cons, we got a little derailed there. For the pros is for one, they have more
Well,
resources to work with.
this is essentially the pros already.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking about
it's
the pros.
part of the pros. You're right. So, more or less is again they have more financial backing, they have more resources, more like ways for them to be able to expand their game. Another pros is that they gain more traction, more popularity. People know about who are the people behind the scenes, how they work, what their offices look like, etc., etc. And of course, another important factor here is aside from those two things is that they're actually much more regularized now. Like it's much more regular, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that it means that their process of like pitching a project and then delivering it, and basically the processes of making new games is much more efficient, and updating games and doing things are much more efficient because they have a bigger company
Standardization
handling
is
them.
key.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also they have, I'm not sure if this could be considered a pro, but they have tighter deadlines, like much more stricter deadlines, because because the parent company is being a bit more like they're actually providing deadlines and providing like specifics on details that
I guess-
would need to be done.
I guess this is more of a neutral because this can be both a good thing or a bad thing.
All right, now we're moving on to the cons. Of course, this isn't all sunshine and rainbows. There's always going to be a problem with it, and the most obvious problem is that mostly on the gameplay side of things is that servers are not handled by the actual developers themselves. They're handled by the parent company. So if, for example, your parent company doesn't have good gameplay like servers for you to play on, even if the game is solid, the gameplay is good, expect a lot of like issues with like just trying to connect.
Lag, connectivity issues.
Yeah, all of these things.
Disconnection issues.
And another thing is that since again they're under a parent company, like for example Respawn Entertainment under EA, they're not gonna have much freedom to do exactly what they want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, like, yes, although they can pitch, and again I say pitch here because they don't. I say pitch here. They can pitch their own like projects, own games. They have to be approved first by the parent company before they can actually
They
start
can
developing.
also be rejected, or they'll be moved on to a project
Yep.
that doesn't have anything to do with the pitch
Yep. So they have less like
or their expertise.
they have less like wiggle room and freedom. And aside from that is it's also quite limiting creativity, because if the parent company tells the company to focus on this, then you have no choice but to focus on this one game. You have no choice. You absolutely have no choice. Another thing is crunch time. This is actually one of the more controversial issues, which I don't want to get too into detail, but to get to me, in the gist is what it is essentially, think of it like developing a game over regular hours, like going over regular
so
hours.
there would be overtime, and usually overtime is optional.
Yep,
But the controversy stems from
it's not optional.
these companies making it like you are voluntarily forced to join this overtime.
Yep, everyone is in on it. The artists, the VFX, like the VFX.
I guess that's as far as we can
yeah.
describe it.
Yeah, basically everyone on the team has to be in on it, and of course, another fact that I need to report on is that most of the time it's not paid. Most of the time it's not. All right, but that's about it. We'll stop there.
Yeah, that's about it.
So moving on from that is that aside from another con is, aside from like being limited creatively, being, of course, there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of like time waiting around before you can develop your next game, and of course the obvious crunch time is actually the platform that you can actually sell your games, because since you're under a parent company, you can't just your parent company is now your official distributor, so you can't sell your games anywhere else outside of the parent company.
Yeah, so basically, if you wanted to release your game on platform A, but your parent company has struck a deal with platform B, now you have to release with platform B and not platform A.
Yep, even though if, for example, platform A is much more efficient to like launch your game on, you can't. You have to remodel it to be able to be launched on platform B. You have no say in it.
So there's no say on even releasing it on both A and B.
And also,
it has to be released on what the parent company chooses.
Also, this is also a con depending on who you ask, but the parent company has all of the creative control when it comes to like the games of like the smaller company, which means that if they choose to make it so that, let's say, alright, this is just an example, if they say they wanted Crash Bandicoot to become a human man and he can now use guns and he's driving a speedboat, they can do that. Alright? If they wanted to, they can. Alright? And if they want him to have his own iPhone stream, like his own stream that basically streams about the iPhone, he can do that. They can do that. There's absolutely nothing they can do about it.
Well, Shalavi.
Yeah, shut up. So, I guess for the last bit of like for the cons is obvious, but the most obvious one is that the parent company has direct controls of over what developers and who like what type of artists, developers, and anything else you can imagine is hired by the actual like company they own. So like it's up to the parent company who gets hired or fired. That's basically like the gist of it. And it could be considered a con because sometimes there are really talented people out there, and of course, even no matter how talented you are, you gotta wait to be hired by the actual parent company. You gotta wait first. You gotta wait for approval.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
Well,
right, partner. You seem
That's
a bit
bureaucracy for you.
yeah. You seem a little tired there, partner. And everything. You're right.
No, it's because I'm just looking at articles describing these.
I see. All right, so
Yep.
I guess that's it.
I mean, I closed the tab already, so whoops.
All right, I guess that's it. So you have anything to add to this, Roy?
Well, nothing much. You've already discussed what I wanted to discuss from these articles that I'm browsing right now.
I see.
Well, I was before I closed the tab. So, how's our running time? I mean, probably going close to an hour, but you know, it is what it is. But other than the time woes, this is once again Tech Talk giving you tech and games, and we'll be seeing you next time for that.